So listen, on the CBC message boards and on various sports channels and different things over the last 48 hours, people are ragging on Mark Cuban because he decided not to sing the American national anthem or play it before home games for the Dallas Mavericks. Ties in with the Kaepernick and the controversy, Black Lives Matter. But I don't think anybody in Canada would be told or would decide not to play the Canadian national anthem, especially before football, baseball, or hockey games. And I tell you why. There was a legendary singer who changed the way we looked at anthems, not only because he was the voice or the anthem voice of the Habs, the Alouettes, and the Expos during the 1970s. He did it such flair, was operatic, and would get people, even the opposing teams, into a hockey mood. So today, this is not dedicated to Mark Cuban and the craziness that's going on in the States over the anthem. We're going to talk about the only anthem singer that really counts in Canada, or did count, despite some talented people, is Roger Doucet. Now, Roger Doucet, again, was a Canadian tenor, best known for singing the Canadian national anthem, O Canada, in French and sometimes bilingual, on televised games of the Habs, the Montreal Alouettes, and Montreal Expos during the 1970s. He was particularly known for his bilingual version of the anthem, which began in French and ended in English in recognition of the two languages of Canada. Now, Doucet's first performance of the national anthem at a Habs game was on the 13th of October 1970, which, as a lot of people know, is the unofficial start of the 1970s dynasty for the Habs, because in the 1970 season, they didn't make the playoffs. And after Doucet started singing the anthem, what a coincidence. They won in 71, 73, 76, 77, 78, and 79, and came close a couple other times. Now, author Andrew Podnex noted that Doucet belted the anthem with enthusiasm that energized the crowd as much as any Lafleur slapper or Robinson hip check. And let me tell you what it was like. The spotlight would be on Doucet, that old CBC, style he would use for the players, and he would start the anthem, okay, and he would basically energize the crowd so much that they basically could not wait for the start of the game. They not only would sing along, the energy, you could feel it at home, just rose. Now, what was interesting about Roger, he was born in Montreal, 21st of April, 1919, and again, only became the star from Montreal with the anthem at age 51. Now, he came to international prominence because of this. Now, he sang at the Super Series game at 75, Montreal against the Russians. We tied them 3-3. But during the inaugural Canada Cup tournament, he was scheduled to sing numerous anthems during the event, including the national anthems at a game between Czechoslovakia and the Soviet Union on 3rd of September 1976. However, the lyrics for Hymn of the Soviet Union were omitted since the mid-60s due to their Stalinist content. Now, Doucet eventually consulted with University de Montreal's Russian department staff, who provided a modified anthem to sing at the game. Now, these lyrics were eventually approved by the Soviet Union the following year for use in its national anthem, because before they would either play the straight music or the anthem itself, like a orchestral. After Roger started singing the English lyrics, they eventually went back to playing the Stalinist lyrics, which is pretty weird. Now, he also changed the way Canadians sung their anthem. Now, before Roger, the final "We Stand on Guard for Thee" was universally sung the way it was written, with the T and Do falling at the end. Now, Doucet sang the final to Do by raising these notes an octave above their traditional pitch. Now, the audience of CBC's Hockey Night in Canada was so vast, and his rendition was so powerful, that within a few years, Doucet's version became and remains the accepted way to conclude O Canada. Now, in 1980, he was made a member of the Order of Canada, which is Canada's highest civilian honor, and in recognition for the feeling of pride he has instilled in his fellow citizens. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, he passed away on July 19, 1981 in Montreal after sustaining a brain tumor. Now, he was a staunch nationalist as well. Now, when Doucet started singing the anthem, there was no rule against it. After the "We stand on guard for D," the penultimate line, "We stand on guard for rights and liberty." But some of the Quebecois in Quebec were using that as their anthem, which is kind of weird, old Canada. But rights and liberty was kind of reflective of the Canadian aesthetic that at the time in the 70s were fighting for rights and liberty across the world through being Canadians. Now, when kids would sing this at the school, it eventually that became the accepted version. Now, the 1980 version is more compact and has been changed over the years. But rights and liberty, when something you don't expect, something is common, like "Oh Canada" is basically a hymn. And when Roger changed the lyrics to something more applicable to Canada 1970s, he's been a hero because of that. Not only because how talented he was, my God, when he sang it, but there were some of these CBC boards saying, "Oh, anthems are not needed." Bullshit. Oh Canada, when we're fighting for hockey supremacy in the NHL and against the international teams, we weren't back in the full flight of the World Junior success and the World Championship success. That anthem was all we needed, because in an international games with bad referees, all we had to hold on to was that anthem, sung by Roger Doucet both times, but sang by put on tape in these international games. Now, the noted American sports writer Paul Zimmerman, whose nickname is Dr. Z, remembered as a highlight of his coverage of Canadians games that Doucet brought the house down. I mean, people would cry when he finished that song. And it never ran longer than 47 or 48 seconds. And I'm telling you right now, I'm getting teary-eyed right now because I miss him. And when Roger sang that, boys, especially against the Russians, especially when we needed the games we needed to win against Boston, the Rangers, all those teams. But when Toronto played Montreal in the playoffs in 78 and 79, it became more at home because it was more a family thing, because we knew that the Maple Leafs weren't going to be in Montreal in the late 70s in those two series. But Roger, in Canada, Saturday nights were three things. It was a long week of work. You got a pizza, 2-liter pop. You sat around the TV, and you knew the party would start as soon as you heard Roger Doucet sing the anthem. You could be at a Legion in northern New Brunswick. You could have been at a beer hall in, Nova Scotia. You could be in a like what they call a fishing pub in BC. But Roger sang that anthem, boys, we knew we were a Canadian, and you don't get more Canadian than Roger Doucet. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of Roger Doucet. If you like what we're doing here, we're a vintage hockey podcast. Please let us know. Like, comment, or subscribe. And as of Mark Cuban, he's got more money than I'll ever deal with. I don't really give a fuck about him because, he doesn't really matter. What really matters is the anthems in Canada are not political. The anthems in Canada are spiritual. And they're part of who we are. The U.S. anthem is all army and political and all that. But the Canadian anthem, it's a love song to what we're good at, and that's hockey. That's what our anthem is. You sing "Oh Canada," you're singing for hockey, you're singing for the glory. And we're singing, why do you think the Montreal Canadiens are called the Glorious Ones? Think about that for a second. Is any other team in the States called the Glorious Ones? I don't think so. And the glorious singer was Roger Doucet. Thanks for listening.